begin in Perek Hey, Pasuk Aleph. Okay, we begin Perek Hey Pasuk Aleph. The Aryeh Nabris was taken by the Plishtim. This was one of the most traumatic, terrible experiences that Klal Yisrael had from the time they came there to Israel. It was a terrible, terrible situation. Everybody was like overcome by this. That the Aryeh, which is symbol of the Rebbeinu Shalom and us and the connection, everything was taken away. It was a terrible, terrible time. There's one thing my son pointed out, by the way, after the shir, that I didn't mention. Why did they take the Aryeh into the Milchama? What's the thing? And it's very pashut. It's a very famous pasuk in Parshas Paloischa. Vahi ben Soya Aryeh v'yemer Moshe kumu Adonai v'yafutzoy v'echa v'yanusu misanecha b'panecha. You take the Aryeh. That brings a victory in a war against the Goyim. I mean, that's.
So they weren't wrong.
What?
They weren't wrong for doing
it. They were wrong because you're supposed to ask before you do it. You don't just take it. And then you don't do the Aryeh coin. You didn't ask. You just tachavni pinchas. Okay, take it. Finished. It has to be done with the Urim Tumim. There's a whole procedure. Anyway, so what happened? The Philistine lakhu eser ainu elahim vayu me'even ha'ezer Ashdod. They took it. The Ashdod. Ashdod is a very important city for the Philistine. Vayikhu Plishtim esaraynu elahim, vayiviu oisay beis Dagon, vayitzigu oisay etzel Dagon. And Dagon is the avodah zarah of the Plishtim, that they worshipped him. This Dagon is brought down in Chazal. It looked like a head of a person, arms of a person, but then the bottom was of a fish, like a mermaid or a mermaid, something like that. This was because you have to realize the Plishtim were a seafaring people. They came from Cyprus or from Crete. It's not very sure, one of these places. And has Plishtim Kaftorim Hayotzim Kaftor Yotzu. They came from a place called Kaftor. And Kaftor is an island. It's called Ea Kaftor. It's mentioned in the, and Kaftor sounds like Cyprus. It's very likely that they came from Cyprus. Interesting. They have skeletons of them. They check the DNA of the Plishtim is very similar to those of Greeks. They have and nobody knows exactly the language, but it was very different. A Yid couldn't understand them. They couldn't understand us. But there was but apparently they used our alphabet, the alphabet. They used the alphabet and they wrote
regular alphabet.
Regular alphabet, very similar to our alphabet. Alphabet of Ksav Ivri, of course. Not Ksav Ashuri, of course. And they had a lot of cultural differences from the Bnei Yisrael.
So they didn't originate there, you're saying?
What?
They also didn't originate.
They did not originate there. They came in a few waves, though. In the time of Avraham Avinu, there was one wave. There was Plishtim and Kaftor came in another wave. It's interesting that when Avraham Avinu or the Avos are mentioned in the Eretz HaPlishtim, they're always busy with the city of Gror. It's a Gror. Here, Gror is not even mentioned. It's mentioned briefly later on, but it's not. It was apparently a more important city in the time of the Avos, and later on it became less important than the other cities of Ekron, Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gas. Those are the cities. Those became the more important cities later on.
So what is Plishtim? It's a race. It's type of people.
It's a race. It's a race. It's a nation. It's a nation. Plishtim. It's a nation.
Because they lived somewhere. Because they were a type of.
They came from Kaftor. They moved over there, and they Plushes. They called the land Yoshua Plushes, the land of Plushes.
Anyone else lived there?
Yeah.
Other not Plishtim.
Now it says in the Torah. This is a pasuk. It says beferish in the Torah. So now you're asking it. I'll open it up. It's in Parshas Devarim. It's Parshas Devarim. I'm red trying to find. here in Perek Beis, Pasuk Chav Gimel. It says that how the Eibishter defeated all the. There's a very huge Ramban over here, by the way. That's Kedai if you have time to go through this. He describes there was a nation of the when Abram was promised the land of Canaan, Chit Yamar. It says Vesar Rephoim. These Rephoim are never mentioned again. Who are these Rephoim? So he says very clear that which is not mentioned over there is a nation called the Chivi. So he says that Rephoim is the Chivi, and the Chivi is called a few different names. Depends where you are. The Chivi, the Avi, the Choiri, and they're all these are all different nations, and they're really the same nation. They're just different people. So watch this. The Torah talks about Eretz Rephoim Techashev Afi Rephoim Yoshu Balafanim Va'Moirim Yikulem Zamzumim Am Godel V'Rav Kanokim V'Yashmidim Hashem. You understand what I'm saying, right? Kansher Osov V'nei Esau Yoshu V'Seir Ashi Hishmed Es HaChoirim V'Pneihem V'Yirashum V'Yeshu Tachim V'Yom. Said B'nei Seir HaChoiri. Seir was the nation of the Choiri, and the Seir conquered them. Now listen to this next pasuk. This is a very important pasuk. Avim, this is where the ayin. Avim, hayoshim b'chatzerim. Now we know that ches and ayin is always mischalef. So chivi and chava it's the same thing. Avim hayoshim b'chatzerim, that he lived in chatzerim ad Aza, until Aza, the famous city. It's kaftorim hayotzim mikaftor ishmidum v'yeshu tachtam. See?
So they lived there.
They lived over there. That's very interesting. If you look at the Targum over here, the Avoe, the Yesvun B'Refiach, Adaza, Refiach is a city that's in the news these days, right? Kaput Koi, the Novkim Kaput Kaya, Yishutzinam Yisvu Tachvim. Now Targum says that Kaput is Kaput Kaya. Kaput Kaya is Cappadocia. That's a land in the south of Turkey. It's not. But it can't be this because in Yeshaya it says, or Yecheskel it says clearly Ie Kaftar. Kaftar is an island. So Ie, it's E means an island. So it's so it can't be. So I don't know. I who might be argue on the Targum. I'm not the only one. A lot of people have problems with this Targum, and they say that Kaftar is Kaftar Kaprus. It's very very similar. In the Chazal they call it Kafrisen. Yain Kafrisen, Lamu Hiba, that very good wine over there, right? That they use it in the Ketores, right? I would say so. So this gives you this background. I would say you see this says Ferish in the Torah, this invasion of the Kaftorim and how they took it over and they became the Pelishtim. At kedei kach that the word pleshas lifloish means to invade, right? At kedei kach the noun became a verb. It's very interesting. Anyway. So Flishtim locals around the Vayivio, and they were very involved in the sea. They were sailors. They were the sea in the Egyptian hieroglyphics. They're called the seafaring people. They were into ships, into the sailing, very into sailing. Not us. We were not into so much into sailing, except maybe dung, but usually not. So this was their god. Their god. They had an avodah zarah, a pesel that was in the shape of a fish, a human fish, something like that. Vayashkimu ashdoidim mimachras. They put the. Now this was a very common thing that when you conquer another nation, we did by Mechemes Midian also. You take the sholol and you bring it to the mikdash. As a sign of thanks to the. And you can donate part of it to the mikdash. They did the same thing. To their avodah zarah. This was during the day. The next morning they come, they find their avodah zarah spread out on the floor. So somebody threw it. It was on the ground.
In front of the Udon.
In front of the
Not broken, it sounds like.
Not broken. What's that? It's not broken yet. Okay.
Next one.
No, so the next morning they put it back in its place. The next morning, now it's different. The head and the two hands of this avodah zarah were chopped off, and they were on and they were on the Shvel. What do you say when you come into the house? There's like a I don't know what the word is in English. There's a word for it. There's under the door. Okay, that's where it was that they were laying over there on the crucifix. Now this is very interesting because if you find in the Torah also, it's interesting passage that it's mentioned twice in the Torah, and there's very little explanation for it. V'avarti be'eretz Mitzrayim b'layla hazeh v'kesi b'chol b'chor be'eretz Mitzrayim u'v'chol Elohei Mitzrayim eseh shvatim ani Hashem. Right? That says once, and then by Parshas Maseh it says Vayisu b'nei Yisrael. Before it says that Hashem hikol b'chol be'eretz Yisrael u've'Eloheihem asa shvatim. What does this mean? U've'Eloheihem asa shvatim. It doesn't say anywhere. It's interesting. You look at the Farshim, we go right through it. Like nothing.
What is practically?
What happened?
What does it
mean? What does it mean?
Shvatim.
What is shvatim? Shvatim means justice. The Eibishter made a carbon from somehow from this l'chor. It was a similar thing to this, where the avodah zaros were the avodah zaros are always images. So the avodah zaros were destroyed. L'chor, that's what it means. Otherwise, it's interessant that it's not talked about at all in the Mefarshim. About what are the shvatim that the Eibush did to the Elohim, right?
They needed the shvut in order to hold them together.
And what it's called, it's interesting, shvatim. Why Dafka? This word is not used anywhere else. I mean, but what are the shvatim? Is like justice, sort of. It is like yishpot, yishpot Hashem beni, like it's sort of like a nekama of some kind.
There was a manik then. There was
where?
That.
What do you mean manik?
They needed people to guide them.
Who needed people?
What's a shvutim?
Shvatim, not shvutim, with the pay. Shvatim, shoifet, yeah.
Like a judge.
Yeah, judges. But the Eibishter made them, yeah, like we shoiftim. Shvatim means justice of some kind. They did justice to the avodah zarah, but it's not clear what the Eibishter did. It's interesting that the Mefarshim don't talk about it. In the Haggadah, we don't emphasize it either. It's not even considered part of the 10 makkahs or anything. It's not an 11th makkah.
It was a default. Whatever happened was a color as a shvut. By default, if they saw the nisim, they saw everything.
That by default, they're
nothing.
Kol Elohei Mitzrayim eseh shvatim ani Hashem.
Eseh.
I'm going to make. I'm going to destroy all the B'chayrim. Kol Elohei Mitzrayim eseh shvatim. I'm going. No, it's also both are future. V'avarti is a vav mahapach. If we were not a vav, it would be ever. But it says v'avarti. That makes the present future. What? Yeah, it says Ni Hashem also. It says a lot of places. It says Ani Hashem. It says from this it's clear that Ani Hashem.
It's the same thing I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure that you shouldn't think that. That could be a very good point. That you shouldn't think that it's some sort of an accident. They would have died anyway from a gate or some kind of what. No, Ani Hashem. Why? How do you know that Hashem? Because B'chol Elohei Mitzrayim eseh shvatim. Maybe but it's interesting over here. You would think that the Plishtim would see what's happening to their God. They would stop dealing the God. No, nothing to they still believe in all the Narishkeiten. It's fascinating the koich of avodah zarah. So now they've made there's the minig, I should say. Al kain lo yidrichu kohanei dogoin v'chol aboim beis dogoin al miftam dogoin v'ashdod ad hayom hazeh. Ad hayom hazeh always means forever. They took on a minig from then on. They never step on the miftam because the head and the hands of the avodah zarah was over there. You see, it's being destroyed. The avodah zarah is being destroyed, and not only that, they have a certain kedusha to it that they don't step over there because it was on that place where in the shvel of the door where you come in, they never step on. They jumped over it. They didn't step on it. Why? Because the head and the hands of the avodah zarah were there.
That's where it fell.
That's where it fell. That's where it fell, and they never ever stepped there again. Interesting, no?
So after the second time, they didn't put it back.
I don't know. Maybe they made it. They built it. Maybe they rebuilt it. I don't know what material.
The first time it says Yeshiva Yisrael Kaim, but the second time it says that they found it broken.
Yeah,
Doesn't say
second
that.
time it broken. That's the first time you put it back. Second time, all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. I don't know. Maybe they had to build it. No, we don't know. We don't know what material this of it is that it was made out of. Was it metal? Was it wood? Was it stone? We don't know.
Stone. Everything
Maybe.
was made out of stone.
Maybe. We don't know. It doesn't say. Anyway, Vatichbad Yada. What?
I think the idol wasn't stone.
Everything was stone.
The idol wasn't stone.
They didn't make things out of metal then.
Well, the idol wasn't stone.
Why not? Of course, they made out of metal.
Metal?
The idol
Yeah. El
It
Hey Zov.
smells metal.
El Hey Kesel Hey Zov Le Sasulachem. I mean, it's of course the eagle.
But it was
The eagle was
special.
a.
It
The eagle was
But most of the things, everything was made out of stone, like plates and spoons.
Atzabeim Kesef Zov Masi Deyodam. Right. Eitz V'Evan and Shalai. They made any material they made out of. They made of wood. They made everything. Our desserts made out of everything. Anyway, but Tichbad Yad Hashem Elo Ashdoidim Vayishimim, and he destroyed them. How he destroyed them is not there, but you're going to see later on how he destroyed them. The Ashdoidim. Right now it's only on Ashdod, the city of Ashdod. That's where they brought the Aryeh. Vayach Oisam Bat Chayrim is Ashdod Vesgbuleho. The Eibishter gave him a makkah of hemorrhoids in Ashdod and all the gvul around Ashdod. Okay, now here it's interesting. I want you to notice something. This is we find it in Torah also that the word is afoilim with the ayin pei lamed, but apparently that's a dirty word. So you don't pronounce that word, and you're saying said chayrim. You have also yishkovena, yishkolena, and you have later on in Sefer Malachim it says lishtois es shinehem v'lechel etzoyasehem. They taunted the Bnei Yisrael. They're gonna be starving over there. You're gonna end up drinking your urine and eating your excrement. So over there, it's also you change it. You change the word from shineim to meim ragleim and from chayreim to esem. The Kri tries to sound nicer words. You don't use I want you to notice it because I'm going to come back to this later. It's very interesting. Over here, they changed it from aparim to chayrim, which is apparently a buried word. Es Ashdod Vesgulehom. Vayiru Anshe Ashdod Kichen. They saw what happened. Amru Lo Yeshev Aroin El Hey Yisrael Imanu. Ki Koshto Yodoi Oleinu Val Dogan Eleinu. This is no good to have the Aroin over here. It's making very big problems for us. Okay. Vayishlachum, and they gathered Vayasu as Kol Sarnei Plishtim Alehem. The Sarnei Plishtim. They wrote down this Chamesh Sarnei Plishtim. Sarnei is sort of like governors. In the Plishtim had Sarnim. We don't find this word by the Bnei Yisrael. They didn't have governors. We had, interesting, you find in other Sfarim, you find each city had a mayor, and they called the mayor the Melech of the city. Melech Hebron, Melech Shrem, Adonai Shrem actually. Melech, you find many cities. As Bnei Yehuda, Ves Malocheha, and their kings. But there by the Plishtim, they had a word Sarnei. So Vayasfu is called Sarnei Plishtim. Manasseh Laroin El Hey Yisrael. What should we do? Vayemru Gas Yisov Aroin El Hey Yisrael. Let's move it to Gas. Gas is an inland city. It's not on the coast. And it's closer also to Bnei Yisrael. Anyway, Vayasebu is Aroin El Hey Yisrael. They moved it over to Gas. Vayasebu is Yisov. It's a way of moving things. We find this also in the Torah a lot of times when it talks about Yisov by the Gevulim of Bnei Yisrael. It's not a direct line. It's a little bit curved. Vayihi achre hesabu oisai. After they moved it over to Gas, Vayihi yad Hashem be'ir mahuma gedoy l'ma'od. Again, there's some sort of magefa. Vayachas anshe yo'ir mikotoin vi'ad godol. Vayisasru lahem tchayrim. Again, that now this Yisasru is some Mepharshim say that it's lashon for seiser. It's hidden because the hemorrhoids are in the hidden place in the body. So you say Vayisasru. However, it's with a sin. It's not with a samach. And all in Tanakh, it's always with a samach. So there's some Mepharshim that want to say, there's the modern Mepharshim that found that there's a language called Akkadian. And in Akkadian, this is a word in Akkadian that means to hit, to smite, to get the lahakos. Wow. So they want to tie that it's v'yisasru means that's geschmissen. with Chayrim, the people of Gas. Vayishalchum es Aroin for Elohim Ekron. So now here it's going already to the third city. It started in Ashdod, it went to Gas, and now it's going to Ekron. Ekron is also an inland city. We do not know where Ekron was exactly. There's different theories on where it was exactly, but we don't know where it is.
And Ashdod we do know?
Ashdod we definitely know. Sure, it's called Ashdod Aryeh Mazeh, and Ashdod we definitely know where it is.
It's the same
And
place?
Azza is definitely the same place.
Gas.
It didn't place.
Gas.
Was
Okay.
Kiryat Gat
Is also
is very close to there. It's not exactly there, but it's very close to there.
accurate.
You know, it came from Gas. Goliath came from Gas.
Yeah.
It's also a very interesting pasuk about Gas that has to do with it in Divrei Yom. It says that the Bnei Ephraim went to be roya the sheep in Gas. By Yakum Anshe Gas and the Anshe. There we see that there was an attempt by the Bnei Yisrael to go back there to Israel while they were there, and it's a famous story. And then they were killed by the Anshe Gas. And the Plishtim. That's also because they remembered what happened in the Plishtim were killed the Bnei Ephraim.
Wow.
And so this is a whole discussion itself. I'm not going to go into it right now. Anyway, but that's Gas. This is so that from Gas they went to Ekron, and Ekron is an inland city. Vayishluchu vayasu is called Sanei Plishtim. They gathered together again all the Sanei Plishtim. Vayimru shalchu esaroin el hey Yisrael yoshev l'mekoyma. Let's get him back over there. V'lo yomis oisi v'es ami ki hoisa muhumas mobes b'chol ir kovda ma'od yado Elohim sham. That again, you see how the words that should have been the end of the pasuk should have been in the middle of the pasuk. Anyway, but it's saying vayoshev l'mekoyim v'lo yomis oisi v'es ami. It's talking about the people of Ekron. We can't take this anymore. So they saw this happening already 3 times, right? From here we see an interesting thing. We see that there was and now I'll come back to this also later. Apparently there was when it says about the Tchayrim business, that was only for those that were left over, still alive. There was a tremendous magef in all these 3 places. A lot of Plishtim died. Stam died.
Not from Tchayrim?
Maybe because of Chayrim. There was another thing. It's interesting. You know, again, Sefer Shmuel always reveals things that we should have known before. Later on, you're going to see that one of the big makas over there was achbarim. There was rats, mice. Okay, and it's not mentioned before, but later on it's mentioned. And from that, you're supposed to know that it happened before.
So the mice went into them.
Yeah, they went into them. That's a button with Chazal. It doesn't say in Psukim Beferish, but it has another problem. Achbarim, mice, eat the tfuah, and they had a lot of tfuah over there, and they didn't have pictures of Charlotte Christina to save them from the Achbarim. They didn't know about the side yet. That's from the Kalagavein. So anyway. Vayihi, now we're passing Perik Vav. Vayihi Aroin Arenoi b'stei Plishtim Shir b'chadash.
Sorry, what's the Tal Shabbos here?
Did I skip the passing?
No, the end of the passage.
I'm sorry. Vanosh Mashalei Mesu Hukum Batchaim Batal Shabbos Ho'im Ho'ir Hashemayim. You always see that this is like the Torah B'Lashon Havai. This is the Lashon of they were screaming so loud that it went up until the sky. The screaming, they were just screaming. They couldn't take it anymore.
Shema doesn't mean to Hashem. It doesn't mean to.
Shabbos means like a shrai.
Like a shrai. It went up to the B'Shamayim. It doesn't mean
very loud.
No, because I think you're thinking the pasuk in Parashat Shmos, right? Vayizku b'nei Yisrael v'tash haBosam Elohim v'yishma Hashem l'shamosam. Yeah. Vayihi Aroin Arenoi b'stei Plishtim Shir b'chadashim. All together in the Aroin Elikim in these 3 cities that was there for 7 months. Vayikru Plishtim laKohanim v'laKoismin. To the Kohanim and the Koismin are the people that try to figure fortune tellers. This is one of the things you're not allowed to have. Koismin Hem Yishayim. We don't believe in Koismin, but then
what? Koismin is more of magic man, whatever.
Yeah. The people that that try to figure out things in the future. They look at tea leaves. They look at they try to figure out what to do. How in the world can we get this back to this place? What should we do? So they came up with a recipe. And these koismim and kohanim said, Im mishalchem esaroin elhei Yisrael, al tishalcho esarekum. Don't send it back empty. You have to send it back with some sort of a pius. You have to be. We don't want any trouble. We don't want any more problems. Yehoshev toshivu loy asham. The asham is a way of a kapara. Asham means an avera. It also means a kapara. Just like we have chatas. Chet means an avera, and chatas is a kapara for the chet, right? So the same way as asham. Oz tirpu, then you're going to be healed. And you're going to understand. And it doesn't mean lamas lama, but you will understand that the Yad Hashem is going to stop hitting you. Vayomer said, Ma Hashem Anshanashal. What should we return with the Aryeh? Vayomer Mispar Sarne Plishtim Chamisha. Since there's 5 Sarne Chamishim, so let's send back five for each Sarne Plishtim. We should send Chamisha Techayre Zahav, 5 things in the shape of hemorrhoids of gold. V'chamisha achbarei zahav. Now here we find the first mention of the achbarim. Before there's no mention of it, right? Ki magefa achas lekulam ulasarnechem, because it's one magefa for you and for the sanei plishtim. So watch this. Vatzisem salmei tchayrechem. You should make slomim of the shape of the hemorrhoid salmi achbrechem, and from the mice and mashchisim as the oretz that are destroying the land. Here we see that the achbarim were destroying the land. They were eating up the tvua. They were starving, right? Unesatem lelehei Yisrael kavod, and then you give a kavod to the Klei Yisrael. Ulai yokeles yodem melechem umial elehechem umial artzachem, from you, from your land, and from your God, right? Because don't make your heart so hard. Look what happened to Parai. Don't be such an action. Like they did. Look what happened to them. And then Esau ended up leaving. Now he's telling him what to do. What should you do? Agola chadosha echos. Make a brand new agola, a wagon. Ushtei poros olois and shaloi ola alehem oil, and 2 young poros, but the poros already, like the Gemara says, machlokes, it was 2 years old or 3 years old, but it can give birth already. And shaloi ola alehem. Look at the play on the words over here. Olois, ola, and oil. You see, each one means a different thing. And they didn't have an oil come on them. In other words, they didn't schlep any plows. Vasartem esaporos bagola. You should take these cows to the agola, but and they should take their little calves that they gave birth to. Don't send them with them. Leave that in the house. Now, why? Because it's the derech of a cow that gives birth, that wants to be together to nurse their babies. So it would be not the derech hateva that they should want to go away from their children. So this is going to be like a test to see if the thing really really works. You take the aron and you put it in the wagon. Veis klei hazov and sheres yevoisem lei osham, and these kalim of the zohov, that in other words the shapes of the tchorim and the achbarim, you should that you're returning as an osham to simu ba'argaz mitzido. You put it in a box next to it. Ushlachtem oisei b'holach, and you should send it weiter. Interessant. The word argaz is a word we find all the time. It's only mentioned once in the whole Tanakh, and it's over here. We don't know we wouldn't know what it means except by the context.
Type of basket.
It goes in a box. Today the word argas is going to use. It's not in the Tanakh. It's the only place. The shortage is roigas, which doesn't make any sense. I don't know what the shortage is, but anyway, it's interesting. But you put it next to it, and you send it. Or isam.
It's not Aryeh.
What?
Aryeh is a listen from
It's like a type.
weave, no?
But what's the zayin in the end? The zayin is argas. Usually the aleph is added in the beginning. You don't usually find maybe you're right, guys. Or isam in derech gvula yala beis shemesh. If you go in the derech of the gvula beis shemesh was on the border of the Eretz Plishtim, and Ekron was on the other side on the other side of the border in the Eretz Plishtim, and the border was in between. It wasn't a very fixed border because it kept invading each other all the time, but it was more or less. Beis Shemesh was a Jewish city, and Ekron is a Goyish city. And so in Derech Gvula, if the cows are going in the direction of the Gvul to Beis Shemesh, who asalano esa roa gedola, he, that the God of the Jews made this terrible thing that happened to us. And if this doesn't happen, then we're going to know it's not his hand or Bani Shlem's hand. It just happened to be like this. That they had chorim, and they had achbarim, and they had all these mice. It's only an accident. It was a coincidence. That could have happened anyway. But Yasu and Nashim came. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. But Yikhu Shtei Paros, they took Paros Oilos, young Paros, that are still. Oilos means that they're menikos. They're nursing. They're nursing the Vayasrum, and they tied them Bagola. Ves B'neim Kola Babois, and their bonim they left in the baby calves. They left them in the house, in the barn. Vayosimu Eis Aroin Hashem Elo Agola. They put all these things in the on the wagon. Now this is the word Vayisharna. I want you to look very interesting Rashi over here. See what Rashi word says here? Hare teva zu androgynous. You see the words in Rashi?
Yeah.
Very interesting Rashi. This word is an androgynous. So Yisharna could be the Yisharna. If it's Lashon Hakev, it should be Vatasharna with a tough in the beginning. If it's Lashon Zohar, it says by Yisharu, Yisharnu. But Yisharna is a combination of different things. So what is the word Vayisharna? What's the shorish? Is the shorish Yashar, that they go straight? It could also be like Vatoshar, singing. Chazal say that they sang a song. And there's a whole arichas of this, and the Gemara talks about this, about the song that they sang, the paros. By Yisharna haparos baderech, and al derech Beis Shemesh, on the road to Beis Shemesh, b'mesila achas halchu. They went in one road. Holoch v'goy. They were going and they were mooing and making nouns. Oh, why? They were moaning for their children, but they didn't stop them. They kept going. They kept going away from their babies. In the sun, no. But like Soro Yom the Small, they did not go right or left. The Sarnei Plishtim Machrehem, and the Sarnei Plishtim were going after this Agola ad Gvul Beis Shemesh, until the Gvul of Beis Shemesh.
The beginning of Beis Shemesh?
Mm-hmm.
The beginning.
The Gvul at the beginning of Beis Shemesh. I should have brought along over here the whole Ma'amar Chazal, what they sang. This is the Ma'amar. I think Resh Lakish has a whole song that with words in it. I don't have it over here. I should have brought it along. Anyway, now I want you to go back one pasuk over here, and pasuk Yud Aleph. I want you to notice what does it say in the pasuk about Salmit Chayrehem. Here it doesn't say anymore. Kriing Siv. You notice this?
Yeah.
So the Mefarshim pick up on it. Someone wanted to say, I think Minchas Shai says it, that when it's already near the Aron, there's so much kedusha over there that it doesn't, the word doesn't appear anymore. It's when you put it next to the Aron, it only takes on the word Chayrem. And I think it's the only place it says the word Chayrem in Ksiv, because it's usually only a Kri. Anyway, it's just interesting and interesting thing to notice. Anyway, let's go back to Pasuk Yud Gimel. Now, Beis Shemesh when the Beis Shemesh mean the people of Beis Shemesh, koitzrim k'tzir chitim ba'emek. They're in the valley cutting the chitim. When is k'tzir chitim? K'tzir chitim, like k'tzir chitim hayom. K'tzir chitim is Shavuos time. It's around Shavuos. Because that's when you bring the carbon of the chitim. Seirim you bring in Pesach, and the chitim you bring in Shavuos. Ba'emek in the valley. Vayisu esenehem. They picked up their eyes. Vayiru es aroin. Vayismachu liroy. They're very happy to see the Aryeh Hashem. And they saw that it came by itself. Va'agola ba'a elisadei Yehoshua beis Shashimshi. He came to a person called Yehoshua who lived in Beit Shemesh. Vatamad Sham, and it stopped over there. V'sham even gedoyla vayivaku atzehu agola beis haporos helu oilo Hashem. They cut up the wood of the agola, and the poros that they brought for an oilo Hashem. Do you notice a problem in this pasuk? There's a halachic problem in this pasuk, a very big problem.
What with the bring the oil?
More than that.
It came to a rock, stopped.
Yeah.
First of all, there was nobody on the agula.
No.
It went by itself.
Went by itself.
Oh.
That's the whole mess. That was the test that the koisman made. Let's see where that goal is. They're going to go. They're going to want to go back home, and if they're not going to go back home, and let's see which direction they go. That's going to tell you everything.
Koisman is
the goyish koisman.
Yeah, they sent it.
The goyish koisman sent it. They made this as a test.
Is that the problem?
That's a problem.
That's the problem that through Koisman.
That's not the problem. No,
So
that's not the problem.
Kahanim and Koisman were theirs.
The problem
Kahanim
is
also theirs. Kahanim also theirs.
they're Kahanim. Not Yiddish
I thought
Kahanim.
Kahanim.
There's Kahanim in Mitzrayim also. Rak Abmas HaKahanim.
I thought it meant to ask you.
No. Goyisha Kahanim and Goyisha Koisman. Koisman Yishmo. You know the problem? The problem is a pasuk that the first pasuk you learned in Chayder, right? Vayikra Moshe, right? What does it say? Vayikra Hashem love, right? Odom ki akrivem korban Hashem min abokar or min atzayin, right? What's a bokar? A bokar is a cow, ox, right? Zocher tamim yakrivenu. An oil can only be a zocher, right? Zocher tamim yakrivenu, right? And here's the para. What's going on over here? Good. So anyway, so some of the Farshim say it's a Hiras Shah, but a lot of other Farshim say that you're going to see later on that in the next pasuk it says that the Anshe Beis Shemesh were makar karbanos. So they want to say that this was the goyim that made this carbon. The goyim that came along.
It sounds like they stopped. They didn't come in.
They stopped right by the stone of over there, and over there they
came by itself.
It was.
It came by itself.
It came by itself, but it stopped.
Right. So there was nobody there from the.
It says before they were following it. Take a look at the pasuk before.
They let them come in.
I don't know if come out, but they were they went along. They were following it. They were following to see what's going on. They saw it stopped over there. So they wanted. They were very worried. They wanted to please the God of the Kei Yisrael. So they sent these. So someone in Taina that these when they made the carbon the Lashem that were not Jews. These were goyim that made this oila. Now it says that a goy can make an oila. Shlamim only a yid can make shlamim, but a goy can make an oila, right? And the goy has no tzivui of Zocher Tamim Yakrivenu. Good. Anyway, Valvim Hoiridu Es Aroin Hashem, and now the Levium come out. There were Levium over there, and it says that only Levium should do the Bakosib Yisrael, right? Valvim Hoiridu Es Aroin Hashem. Veso argaz asher itoy asher boy klei zahav vayisimu elo even hagadoyla. They put it on the even hagadoyla. Anshe now here comes Anshe Beis Shemesh helu oilos. They brought oilos. Vayizbur zbachtem. They brought shlomim also. Vayoymahu lashem. Okay, and now how could they make a bama? Right? How could they make a bama? But the teretz is, and I'm going to talk about this later also. It doesn't say clearly when Mishkan Shilei was destroyed. But this is probably after Mishkan Shilei was destroyed, and that was the time Heter HaBamais. The Gemara in Zevachim says that between Mishkan Shilei and the Beis HaMikdash, you were allowed to have Bamais. That was a Heter HaBamais. You were allowed to build a Bama, no problem. You find that Shmuel had a bama. You're allowed to have bamas. The Chamisha Sani Plishtim Ro. Now the Chamisha Sani are watching. They came and they went back home. Okay? Ve'ele Tchoyre. Here there's a pasuk again used the word Tchoyre. It's not Apoilim anymore. It's Ve'hine Ve'ele Tchoyre Hazov and Sheishivu Plishtim. This is a very interesting pasuk. I don't know what's pshat in this pasuk, but anyways. Osham Lashem La'ashdod Echad La'aza Echad La'ashkelon Echad Ligas Echad La'ekron Echad. Each one of the Sani Plishtim brought the Tchayrim. However, that was the Tchayrim. What about the Achbarim? The Achbarim came all over the whole land of Plishtim. Wherever there was Tfuah, there was Achbarim. So the Achbar has Zahav Mispar Kol Orei Plishtim. Lachamesh Tasron Meir Mipsar Bakar in all the cities, wherever they were Achbarim.
So
They brought a lot. There was a lot of Achbar Zahav that came along. Only 5 Tcharim, but there was a lot of
So
Achbarim.
whatever it happened, that's who gave the gold.
All the little cities, all the little
Donated
towns
the gold
gave gold mice.
towards the mice.
Mice, so
Towards the mice.
They made mice.
Only Chamisha.
No,
Chamisha-
that's-
Only
That's a tough
only
Tcharim.
five Achbar, 5 Tcharim, and a lot of gold mice. Gold mice. And
Yeah, it says Tchayra, so
Don't say 5. We say 5. Said before 5. Right?
right.
yeah,
But
it's
after
5.
Tchayra.
So there's 5 this, but there's many things. Achbar Zahav Mispar Kol Orei Plishtim L'chamesh Ram Meir Mifzar Ba'ad Kofer HaProzi, all the cities Ba'ad Ovel HaGedolah. And share Ovel Haggadah. Usually Ovel is a valley. Ovel Mechoila. We find a few places.
A big stone.
No, Ovel is usually a valley, a large valley. And share Nichu Aleha Esaroin Hashem Adayim Azeb B'Sedei Yoshua Beis Hashemshi. Now I want to stop on a very interesting thing over here on a word. At Kofer Prozi. This has to do right. What's the Inyan of the Yomer right now? We had Ben Shush Chodesh yesterday, right? So it's interesting that I once saw a very interesting discussion. We know that Masechtas Megillah begins with Megillah Nikras all these days. What's pshat? That the 15th day is for Shushan and Mukavis Chaima. 14th day is for everybody else, right? But it's also here the Kfarim are Makdim. They can go before, even until the 11th of Adar. They have Kriyas Megillah. Why? Because the Misapkim Mozan Lachem Sheba. So I once saw Shaila in a Tshuva Sefer. I forgot where it was though. I'm trying to remember many years ago. He said like this. He says, "What about a kfar that is mukav chaim yimot Yeshua benun?" So he says, "Such a thing can't be." Who said it's a kfar mukav chaim Yeshua benun? So he says, "Yes, from this pasuk." So you see that there's such a thing called kofer haprozi. So by so it must be a kofer. It's not prozi. There could be a kfar that can have a wall. It doesn't come to an answer, but it's a very cute shaila. But it's also. It's interesting also that the word kofer as a kfar is not in Tanakh. What's a small city called in Tanakh? It's called a chava. It's not called a kofer. It's interesting. This is
with a chof.
with a ches.
With a ches?
Yes. I want once in the topic. I still have a few minutes. Just let me say, into Santa Zach, it has to do also with Kriyas Megillah. How do we know? Oh, very good, excellent. And I'm going to talk about it in a minute. It's
Ches with a ches? Yeah. Ches
yeah. So it says, Be'etzem, if you take a look in Megillah itself, just the words. Purim was the day that they did not kill the goyim. The 13th they did the 75,000 and the V'noyach Barbasre, and the day that they were Noyach, that's the day Yom Mishta V'Simcha, right? But the people of Shushan asked for one more day, so they got another day. So they weren't Noyach until the 15th day. So
that's why today.
So that's why. So the way the Megillah says it, that Purim is the 15th day, but Orei HaParazim, those Orim that happen to be Prozim oisim barbos, right? Come along Chazal, and they say, "Well, you leave Yerushalayim out. I can leave Yerushalayim out." So you go. Where does it say Prozim in the Torah? So it says, we're talking before. I was in Parshas Devarim. Where is it? Oh, Pasuk. Here it is. Pasuk. Kol Eile. When they conquered the land, the Moshe and the Bnei Yisrael conquered the land of the Amori, of Sichon and Og, right? Mm-hmm. So it says, Kol Eile Orim B'tzuros Choyma Gavoya Dlosayim Uvriach, right? Levad Me Ore HaProzi Harbe Miyoid. So they say that Ore HaProzi is those that are anything. It says Prozim, anything Moshe Yeshua Ben Nun. It really means Moshe actually. All those cities that were what's Prozi? Prozi is the city that's not Gavoy Choyim Gavoy L'Sayim V'Vriach. What? Open city. They said that did not have a wall in these times of Moshe Rabbeinu. Now Yerushalayim had a wall because of the Yevusi, and there's many other cities also. Even Chutz La'aretz. A city in the Chutz La'aretz, for example, Izmir, people laying Megillah on the and not Rome.
No.
Rome didn't get started until many years later, time of Shlomo Melech approximately. But Prague, for example, they lane both days. Prague, very good. Lane both days is also. I once wrote an article about it. There's a verworfen city in Poland called Wolvenitz. Over there, they landed on. They had a Messiah, this, and Kojan Samagit said they should keep the Messiah that laid Megillah on Shushan Purim. Now, very interesting. What right did the Chachamim have to say that the Kfarim are different? Watch this. The Torah says, watch this. This is my own word. That's why I like it so much. Watch. The Torah says divides the world into two types of cities. This here, Choyme Gavoid L'Sayim B'Vriach, right? And there's Aryeh Prozi. Those are the two types of things. Comes along a few psukim later. It says, what does it say? It says, where is it? Oh, Yoreh ben Menashe lokach es kol chevel argoiv ad gvul shuri b'machosi ve'ikra oisam al shmoyes abosh and chavis yor ad yom hazeh. And then it says, first it says, I gave you every city you have over there. Moshe Rabbeinu conquered everything, Prozi and not Prozi, everything. Comes along Yoreh ben Menashe and looks at it. He took other things also. So there's some things that are not Prozi and not Choyim Kavaya, and that's Chavos Yor. And what does Targum say? Kafrone Yoir. So there's a third category called Kfarim that doesn't call not in Prozim and not in Mukaf Chayma. And that's why the Chachamim were able to use that and I think we'll stop over here. Where are we up to? I don't know myself where we're up to. But yes, let's just say it till the end of the page. Oh, this is a very hard pasuk. No, we'll leave it for later because this is a very difficult pasuk. We'll